to Legacy Leaders. I'm your host, Ann Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group, your award-winning global marketing, advertising, and public relations agency. Today, I am joined by Mayor Daniela Levine Cava of Miami-Dade County, and today we will discuss her re-election victory, priorities for her next term, and the upcoming election with some historic countywide races. Welcome, Mayor Daniela.
It's great to be with you. Thank you so much, Ann Marie. Thanks to Mosaic.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. We're really excited about everything that's happening in not just Miami-Dade County, but the national elections. So, a lot going on. But first of all, congratulations on your re-election.
Very excited to be re-elected another 4 years. And I like to say I made history as the first woman mayor, and then I made history again as the second woman mayor.
Well, I love it, and I love that for you, Mayor Daniela. So, tell us about number one, for those who just may not be familiar with you, which because we have viewers from multiple counties and nationally as well. Just give us a little bit about your background and then how you came to your first victory and now your second victory.
Excellent. Well, I have to tell you, top of mind is I'm a grandma. So when I started this journey, I did not have any grandchildren. I only mention that because, of course, the best thing in the world is grandchildren. So I'm a lawyer and a social worker by training. I founded a nonprofit organization called Catalyst Miami and other nonprofits along the way. I have always focused on children, families, communities, growing the middle class, helping people to come up and do better, obtain prosperity and health and well-being, and of course the environment, another factor that is in our well-being. So I was on the outside as an advocate, very active, and finally it was time to step inside to county government. And I served as county commissioner for 6 years and then ran and was elected after a runoff as mayor in 2020. So the 4 years as mayor, and I'm not quite done, soon to start my official second term, those 4 years have been transformational. Of course, we've recovered from the pandemic. We're the most recovered economy in the country. We've focused on affordability. We declared an affordability crisis. We've been building housing and subsidizing housing and preventing evictions like mad. We also have traffic. So investing in major infrastructure, including transit, taking care of our water, making sure that our bay is healthy because it's a $64 billion enterprise and it drives our economy as well. Our airport growing 10% per year and many other challenges, as well as being safe, very, very safe place, and very proud of our law enforcement as well.
Well, you definitely have had your hands full, especially to be elected in the middle of a pandemic and to be able to survive that and come out of it and keep the economy strong in Miami-Dade County. We've definitely seen lots of development and, many, many people moving to the South Florida region, but particularly Miami-Dade County, which you've had an influx of new residents. And so I'm sure that there had to be some adjustments in your strategy and how your different services are handled at the county. And so with that being said, what are some of your top priorities for your next term, especially coming off of a pandemic with the influx of new residents, new investments, lots of development, lots of traffic? What are your priorities for this next term?
Well, that's a great summary. Thank you very much. The challenges that we face. I say we're paradise discovered during the pandemic. Of course, all of Florida and South Florida particularly, people flocked here. Things were open. They could be outdoors. They moved. They brought their families, their businesses. And so the economy really has boomed as a result. And unfortunately, driven up prices. So it has only increased the affordability crisis. So with that prosperity comes the downside, the risk that people cannot afford to live here. And we're already seeing substantial outmigration, not good for the folks that want to live here and not good for our workforce. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates. job creation very high. We're competing for talent. So we are focused with a new innovation and economic development plan that has 3 pillars. That is growing the workforce and upskilling, and especially for the new technology jobs and technology informed jobs that pay better. So we also have to increase salaries to take care of the cost of living. Small business, which is still the backbone, even though we have more corporations here. Small businesses is what drives the innovation, entrepreneurship, and hires locally. And we have to, of course, invest in training. We have to focus on training and innovation. So we have partnerships with Miami-Dade College. For the first time, we're funding scholarships at our public institution. And I just learned yesterday from the president of Miami-Dade College, Madeline Pumariega, that thanks to our last dollar for scholarships that assure free tuition, 1,500 students have benefited and are able to continue and complete their degrees thanks to that funding. So we're investing in all those things economically, as well as bringing down the cost of housing through aggressive programming for housing. We mentioned about traffic and transit. It's all about transit, right? And we have a major initiative called the SMART program, and those corridors are being built out. We just were 490 plus million in the president's proposed budget for our Northeast corridor, which, by the way, will continue all the way up through Broward and Palm Beach as well. And our South corridor is going to open this year with bus rapid transit. We've electrified our fleet. So we're doubling down on all those things. The airport infrastructure is big in the next 4 years. We have aging infrastructure. We can't neglect it. We have to be bold. We've been successful in getting state and federal money. $9 billion we're pouring into our airport. So it's very significant. We also want people to be healthy and safe. We're having a new sheriff. The race for a sheriff and my candidate, our supervisor of elections this way, J.C. Planis that way, our clerk and comptroller, Annette Tadeo, and our tax collector, David Richardson. These are independently elected offices now that, we're really needing them to work with us as we move forward. So investments in infrastructure, being resilient, continuing to keep our community safe in partnership with our newly elected sheriff, and finally, stewardship, county dollars. These independent departments are all going to have their own budgets. They come from the same pot of money, county property taxes, and we need to really make sure that we're spending dollars wisely, that the public has trust and confidence that we deliver the same level of service, and I'll be working on all of those.
No, that's wonderful. So what do you say to, because you have so much to cover, and I do want to dive into the historic races that you just mentioned above a little later in our discussion. And thank you for highlighting your top priorities, and I do want to dive into them a little bit more when we come back from a break. So as we get ready to go to break, I want to think through, and I want to talk through particularly how, you have a county-wide seat, how the people leaving Miami-Dade County, whether they're going further north or just completely leaving the state, how is that going to impact, like your schools? How is that going to impact the hospitality and tourism industry? And then what are some specifics that you're thinking about as far as to really keep the workforce here and to make it affordable for them to stay? Like, can you actually enforce, wages to be raised? So those are some items that we want to discuss when we come back from this commercial break. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
I'm Sheriff Morris Young. Illicit marijuana laced with illegal drugs like fentanyl have destroyed lives. I know because I've seen it firsthand. Amendment 3 will save lives by making marijuana safe, regulated, and lab tested. Amendment 3 will protect our community from dangerous illegal drugs while allowing law enforcement to focus on serious crimes. Vote yes on Amendment 3, the smarter and safer choice for Florida.
Promoted 6 times by Democrats and Republicans, Chief James Reyes has earned bipartisan support to serve as our sheriff.
I'm Chief James Reyes. As the only candidate with executive leadership experience in a sheriff's office, I'm ready to lead on day one. As your sheriff, I will invest in training and accountability for our officers, create an independent public corruption unit, and deploy new technology so we can aggressively take on crime and keep our neighborhoods safe. It would be an honor to serve my hometown as your sheriff.
As a mom and small business owner, Annette Tadeo is running for clerk and comptroller to protect our tax dollars and achieve reforms. Annette Tadeo will regionalize the clerk's office, modernize technology services, and expand services to offer passport renewals. In Tallahassee, Fernandez Barquin voted for $1 billion in new sales taxes, took away our local control, and lowered wages on working families. Juan Fernandez Barquin, dangerous and reckless.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Welcome back, Mayor Daniela. As we stated before the commercial break, these challenges that, will impact the greater community as it relates to, people leaving because they just really feel like Miami-Dade County and South Florida as a whole is no longer affordable for them to live here. How do you address that with any specific initiatives and programs?
This truly is a huge challenge. We did roll out our affordability crisis in 2022. We're still at it. We are seeing some stabilization of prices. Condominium challenges, those who live in condominiums are seeing some devaluation because of the difficulty with the repairs that are needed for recertification and the insurance challenges. So we're cooking up everything we possibly can. We have a special loan fund for special assessments in condominiums. That's for people up to 140% of the area median income. So that's, middle class people who are struggling to pay those high fees for repairs. They can get up to $50,000 for 40 years, zero interest. And we know hundreds who've benefited from this program already. It's not capped, it's available and open because we want people to stay. We also continue to have rental assistance. It's limited, we do have, but we're building like mad. We've doubled the regular budget for housing development in the county from previous years. And we're working with developers to bring down the cost of the development as through giving them county property. So we're deploying county property effectively, speeding the approval process. We're also looking at older homes, and we give grants, not even loans, grants to fix up those apartments and keeping them affordable for 30 years. So there's just a range of things that we're working on to bring down the cost of housing and then to upskill people so that they can earn those better wages so they can afford to live here. We also have to partner with business to get them to understand that this behooves them. Otherwise, they can't keep their workforce. And the school system, for example, has property that we're working to effectively deploy as well for housing and other public entities. So a range of factors to try to bring housing and costs within reach. But it is definitely a challenge, and we need everyone to join us. There is a business leadership group, a new group called the Partnership for Miami. They're hyper-focused on it as well. We're looking at a bond program. I know up and down Southeast Florida along the coast, others, Broward and Palm Beach, have looked at and passed measures to provide more funding for housing. And we are looking as well to do that.
Awesome. That's great to know. And I think that at least helps to give people some hope and promise that there'll be some resolutions to this housing crisis that continues to grow, particularly for some segments of the community. There are others who move in, they're just like, "Great, this is affordable, this is paradise."
Right, compared to San Francisco or New York. But truthfully, I like to say we have New York prices without New York salaries.
Exactly. And so how do, because I know, we're gradually increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I think it takes full effect, if I'm not mistaken, by 2026, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's always pegged to the cost of living, right?
Right, exactly. But even that is still not even affordable for anyone to live. And then when you have an economy that, South Florida has traditionally been a small, medium enterprise economy we do have some corporations that are here, but not as many as like your big metro cities that have huge, global corporations that are headquartered there. So we still have a very small, medium enterprise driven economy. And so these businesses struggle with, how do we increase salaries and increase, our benefits to keep and recruit employees when, without raising their prices. So it's such a great area. And I know you mentioned that, there are some support programs for small businesses. How do you propose, especially over the next 4 years, that we deal with that when our businesses have to also meet these new demands and salary requirements and cost of living requirements as well?
So for the county itself, we're, after all, a $13 billion enterprise and have huge procurement, and we have special programs to focus on our small local businesses and preferences. The state has seen it appropriate to preempt us for some of that, which is very unfortunate, starting in 2026. But we have other methods to make sure that we procure locally for as many things as we possibly can. And of course, that we require reasonable salaries and benefits and working conditions. So we have something called purpose-driven procurement, which gives points for being a good employer. So you are more likely to win county contract if you actually do right by your employees. Now we understand the bottom line, it's hard, and insurance costs, everything else. So it costs money to pay people what they need to live. We understand that, but we try to create the conditions that don't force us to go to the lowest common denominator. That's not good for individuals. It's not good for the economy. So the upskilling is also, as I mentioned, and we do have the small business development program called Strive 305 with very extensive training and technical assistance and support. Most of it virtual, but also in person. We've served 15,000 businesses, and we're heading to 80% or more of our small businesses in the county. So, we want everybody to have the tools that they need to be competitive and win the customers that they need to thrive.
Awesome. Now, before we go to another commercial break, I want to touch on public safety a little bit more for you to dive in just a bit more. I know we have a historic election coming up where the voters of Miami-Dade County will be able to elect their first sheriff in over 60 years, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how does this historic election of a sheriff impact public safety, and what do you foresee is the future, or what's going to be the difference or improvement in public safety with this transition?
We're very safe in Miami-Dade County. It's one of the reasons people come here. We certainly have seen a decline in violent crimes, and we have a very, very highly regarded police department. Miami-Dade County Police is countywide. There are 34 cities within the county. Each city has some size police department, but in most cases, they're still relying on the county police to provide more complex supports to them. And now with an elected sheriff, that sheriff will have the same roles and responsibilities, but increased because they will be accountable directly to the public through the vote, as compared to be appointed by me. Technically speaking, I'm the sheriff today. So because of a state constitutional amendment, after 60 years, now we are electing a sheriff. We have, as I say, the best police force anywhere, and we want to continue to maintain those high standards of training and public trust. But we also know that we need to enhance public trust always. We want people to feel that things can be independently investigated, that corruption can be investigated, and certainly the candidate that I'm backing, James Reyes, is very much about creating a corruption unit. So I think that will be enhanced. Also, currently the Department of Corrections, the jails, report to me. It's up for discussion, continued discussion about moving jails under the sheriff. Every county has a different configuration. Certainly, James Reyes, who's my chief of public safety now over police, fire, and corrections, has substantial experience in corrections from Broward, where he served, really responsible for administration of the sheriff's office after serving and working his way up in direct service duties. So we know that he will continue the great reputation, but as well bring added enhancements to the role.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back up to talk about the upcoming elections. We'll be back.
Voting yes for Watson Island is an investment in us, with $9 million in funding for affordable housing, thousands of jobs for our community, and space for nonprofit organizations that support us. Our community wins when we vote yes for Watson Island.
Trusted by our leaders, J.C. Planas has the trusted leadership to serve as our elected supervisor of elections. A father and husband, J.C. Plana has 15 years of experience to protect the integrity of our elections. Alina Garcia. She is plagued by scandals, was issued subpoenas as former Republican Congressman David Rivera, faces criminal investigation, and is indicted for working with Maduro's corrupt government. Alina Garcia's circle, Maduro money infiltrating Miami-Dade. Too cozy with corrupt politicians to serve as our supervisor of elections.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
Welcome back, Mayor Daniela. So, man, we are up on a very, very historic election, both nationally and locally. All right, so let's start with nationally. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? And if you had a crystal ball, what would you project?
Well, it is historic. You know, everyone says it's the most significant election of our lifetimes, but this one really is. It really, really is. We know we have two radically different visions for this country. One that is based on fear and anger, and one that is based on unity and progress. So it's just been so difficult to live through this campaign, which builds on many years leading up to these divisions, but to have so much negative rhetoric and so much anger and confusion, and actually so many lies, right? We know that there is exaggeration that goes on in campaigns, but so much making up of facts and then repeating them and repeating them and repeating them until they seem like they're true, which is so disappointing. So it's really on all of us to be good citizens. I like to say democracy is not a right, it's a responsibility. We cannot take it for granted. It's really only as good as our participation. And we have been told in many ways that this is maybe the last time that we'll even participate. So
Yeah.
I even heard that representative democracy doesn't mean, somebody representing you. It means that you take responsibility for yourself and your own actions. Like, sorry, hell no. It means that not only do you take responsibility, but that you elect people who are going to make sure that you have the freedom to do that. And we're so proud of our elections department here in Miami-Dade County. But we have to elect one, and J.C. Planas is an election lawyer who's served actually from both party perspectives. He is an expert in the field and extremely knowledgeable and a great communicator and educator, and someone that we know will keep our right to vote sacred. So, of course, we're supporting him. The clerk and comptroller, we've had a clerk and it has been elected, but the comptroller function is emphasizing the purse strings. So this means not only the court system, tickets, but it also is making sure that county dollars are well spent. And technically speaking, this position can stop the county from spending money on things that the county commission and mayor approve. So it's really critical to have a strong working relationship and also good customer service. This is critically important and a role in justice. Annette is a former state senator who worked very effectively across the aisle, and we're counting on her. And David Richardson is a former state elected, a former Miami Beach commissioner. He is a forensic accountant. Okay, so get this: who do you want taking in your money and making sure it's distributed appropriately to all the county departments and agencies? And Department of Motor Vehicles is now going to be the county's responsibility, and great plans for improving it. So David is the budget guy, the money guy. He'll do great. We don't have the sign up here, but we also have our property accountant, and Mark Centeno is property. She is a property advisor. She knows how to do that work, and she's been working in that office for more than a decade, and we're supporting her as well.
Well, thank you so much, Mary Daniela. We could go on and on, but we do have to wrap up. Thank you for joining me today. And I do want to remind everyone on behalf of MIA Media Group to please get out and vote. Early voting is underway, and election day is November 5th. So please get out and vote. And thank you again, Mayor Daniela Levine Cava of Miami-Dade County. And thank you for tuning in. I'm Ann Marie Sorrell, your host, and see you next time on Legacy Leaders.